Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
Hello and welcome to Tuesday Nights on Deck, brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Yes, we are back. A couple weeks off since the All-Star break. Had some things going on, but hey, we're back. Joining me tonight is our coach, Coach D. How you doing, bud?
Hey, how's it going, guys? Chris will like this too. First time in 35 days it hasn't hit 100.
Yeah.
All right.
Like 97 and rain showers, which we desperately need. So it actually got down to like 80 for a little bit.
Okay.
But the DFW area desperately needs rain. There hadn't been any measurable rain since May. So this is the first time since May that there's been measurable rain. And it wasn't much rain. It's just a sprinkling, but maybe a quarter inch.
Okay. You know? Well, that's good to hear. And up kitty corner next to me is my catcher, my backstop, Mr. Crispy Bacon. How you doing?
Doing good. Not too bad. Rain was here, and luckily there's not going to be a rain delay.
Exactly. So we're a week and a half away, moved away from the All-Star, not the All-Star game, the trade deadline. I think we could all agree who the winners were, or the winner, I guess. Dirk, I'll start with you. What trade kind of shocked you? What move was made that it was like, really, they did that? So,
I mean, it's not a blockbuster trade, but it's a good trade. Christian Vasquez going from the Red Sox to the Astros. I was hoping the Mets would get in on that deal because there was talk of him and JD Davis coming to the Mets, but the Astros picking up a very good catcher. He's a good hitter, solid defensively. Astros put another bullet in their gun. They're a very good team. And I'm more worried about them than either the Yankees or the Dodgers.
Astros, wow, he said it right today. He said Yankees, not Yank-me's. So, Chris, how about you? What trade kind of shocked you a little bit?
I know the Padres were winners, but maybe they're signing only because it was like, it seemed like one day this team was in the running, another day this team was in the running. I don't know. It seemed like it was unpredictable to figure out who's going to be in this sweepstakes.
Yeah, it is. But for me, I know I have some Brewer fans that are friends that are fans, and I think them moving Hader really shocked me.
That one,
especially to the Padres, who ended up scoring the biggest deal of them all, Soto and Bell, and so. But so moving on from that, I mean, we'll talk trade talk all night because we got a lot to cover over the last couple weeks. But Dirk, what's up with your Mets? How it's doing? DeGrom had I think a no going through 6 the other night. So
Yeah.
you got to be happy.
And the Mets are flying high, baby. It's a well-oiled machine right now. They're a good team to watch. They got that Scherzer DeGrom 1-2 punch, and
That's
Scherzer's
scary.
sick. DeGrom is even sicker. What he threw the other day was unfreaking believable. You know, you could paint a little circle in the bottom right-hand corner of a strike zone
Yep.
to the right-handed batters and do the same to the other side on the left-handed batters. And that's where his pitches are, going from 98 to 100, even up to 102.
Yep.
You know, I know he was really pumped up because he came out, first pitch he threw, I think, was 100, you know, and he settled down a little bit, but when he reached back, he would get it up 101, 102. While he was warming up, they played over the loudspeakers at Citi Field, Simple Man, and it was amazing, you know,
Yeah.
the song. And people were standing, you know, they were looking at him, they were clapping, you know, it was good homecoming for Jake. I just hope he stays healthy. I mean, you know, his career, everybody thinks he's hurt all the time. Really, he's had 2 hurt years, and
Yeah.
it's the last couple of years. The bulk of his career, he's been healthy. From I think 2017 to 2020, he led the majors in innings pitched. So he's always been healthy. It's just, and they were odd things, weird, you know, scapula, elbow, you know, weird. It's just weird freaking injuries. So hopefully he's come back. The way the Mets played the Braves this weekend, and especially the doubleheader, and you know, they took the first game, and then Scherzer came in, and he was just freaking nasty as could be. And honestly, looking at the Braves on Sunday, they did get a 2-run homer off of DeGrom. It's just putting bat on ball, and it does happen, you know, but I think the Mets are in their heads because the Braves are making errors. The whole series they were, even the game they won, yeah, they got up big. Mets made a 5-run comeback. You know, they made it kind of close. They lost 8-5, but you know, and both teams, you know, kind of had a rally the first couple of games, but I think the Mets are in their heads now. And then Strider, he's young. He needs to learn to not talk, okay? Saying the Mets are lucky, okay, yeah, you're not lucky when you win 13 out of 15. Baseball is a game of bad bounces and miscues. Okay, there is luck involved, and don't tell me the Braves, when they were hot in June and half of July, you know, didn't get any lucky bounces. So, you know, the Mets hitters, they are very patient. This is Buck ball. This is Buck Showalter. I love this. There's not an easy out in the lineup. Even the guys hitting 220, they get pitches, they foul them off. They make the pitchers work, and that means something. A little bit, it reminds me of the Royals in 2015. They were hard to strike out, and they just hit the ball. You know, the Mets have a little more power than that team did, but it's kind of the same. Patient hitting, everything's going good. The Mets did not make any big splash moves, but it's kind of bittersweet. Okay, they didn't give up any prospects, you know, and I'm sure, you know, Juan Soto, that would have taken 3 or 4 of their prospects, and I don't think they were going to do that. There was other, like I said, I would have loved for them to go get J.D. Davis and Vasquez. That probably would have would have taken one or two of the top prospects.
Yeah.
But you know what they did? They went and got my new favorite player, Daniel Vogelback. Oh my God, I love that guy. He's like,
What a name.
he said this week he hits home runs like he gets donuts in bunches. He's awesome. And he is perfect for that clubhouse. He's in the dugout. He's talking to all the guys. He's in Scherzer's ear, right? You know, he's talking to everybody. They like him. He's a great clubhouse guy. Left-handed hitter. He'll play against righties. That was a great pickup, you know. We did give up a minor league pitcher that's pretty good, but man, if you remember John Kruk 30 years ago, same kind of guy, you know, a big guy. I don't know why they don't get him a one size bigger uniform, or maybe he likes it like that. And the dude, he's funny looking going around the bases, but he can kind of motor for a big guy. He's not slow, let's put it like that. And on the play he scored yesterday, when he's running home, his helmet flew off his head. And when my players always do that, I'm like, oh, there's the indicator for speed, the hat flying off the head.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of outfielders wear their hat very loose on their head.
Yep.
So when they chase a ball, it flies off. It looks fast. They picked up Tyler Nyquin from the Reds, right? And man, he's produced. Left-handed hitter. He can play all the outfield spots. He can DH, and he's provided some punch too, right? He not statistically not having a good year, but he's been good. He was a highly rated prospect coming up for the Reds, and he's had a couple of years with injuries. He's like 30 or 31 now, but he's a good-looking guy, you know, a good-looking bat, you know, good fielder. Perfect addition, you know. And then the Mets traded J.D. Davis to the Giants for Daniel Ruff, who was former Philly, okay? And he's had good years in his career. You know, he's hit 20 home runs and stuff. He's a good, solid right-handed bat coming off the bench. He can play first base or third base. It's the pickups they made weren't big news splashes, but them three guys together are hitting 300 and have like 5 home runs and 15 RBIs in the past 2 weeks. So wouldn't that be considered a good pickup?
Yeah,
right?
I think, and then you add, then you can add DeGrom in there, you know, coming back.
Coming back, that's like picking up a pitcher.
Yep, exactly. So, no, I think the Mets really did good. You know, they're battling right now. They're 7 up, so right now the lead is safe. You know, talking with you, Dirk, I think you probably could maybe agree with this, but would you consider crediting everything to Buck Showalter coming in on the turnaround?
Him is the big reason, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. The way they play, they've done plays this year where a guy run around third and a guy will kind of steal second, but do the old high school play where he slows down.
Yep.
And they look at him, and then the guy on third takes off for home. They don't do that in the majors. They do it in high school ball a lot. Well, nobody expected it, right? And they scored a run on it. They had a couple other plays. Like there was a play yesterday where they didn't tag Nimmo, but then they tagged him later, and the umpire, they won the challenge because the original call was that he was out by the second baseman.
Yeah.
But then the play changed. I think the umpires got it wrong because when he called him out, if you looked at the replay, Nimmo stood up and took a step toward the dugout because knew he was out.
Oh, okay.
Now, I don't know if he had, popped up if if the umpire didn't call out, they don't say anything. They don't go safe right there. They don't
Yep.
say anything. If you don't hear anything, go. I don't know if he'd have popped up. He would have made it the second. He was directly in the baseline, though, of the throw coming from first base of Matt Olson, which was a smart play on his part. He caught the ball, threw it right back to second, just a double play. But I think Dansby Swanson, I think Nimmo would have been right in the way, or if he had got up and then proceeded to second, not took a step toward the dugout and proceeded to second, he would have been safe, but they didn't really talk about that. And I was hoping they would kind of mention that, because you can see when the second baseman tagged him and the umpire is right there and he goes out, Nimmo gets up and takes a step toward toward the home dugout, not toward second, because the umpire messed him up. And what Buck was trying to explain is like, he didn't do that, but the umpire did the best they could, and it didn't really hurt anything.
Yeah.
Another guy I want to mention, and I'm going to throw his hat into the Cy Young Award, is Edwin Sugar Diaz. He is freaking unbelievable. This is the guy they thought they got a couple of years ago with Cano. Now I'm okay with the trade. Just had to put up with a couple of years of Cano and stuff.
Yeah.
But he came back last year. He was good last year, and he's out. And his entrance music, it's this Spanish trumpet song. It's freaking awesome. I love it. If you see it on Facebook or something pop up, listen to it, man. It's great. But he comes in there and he's got a look in his eye. He is confident. He throws a 92-mile-an-hour slider. Who else did that? Oh, some guy with the Yankees for like 15 years called Rivera, right?
Yeah.
Now this is way early. If Edwin keeps doing that for 10 or 12 more years, then we can put him in the same sentence. But that's what Rivera did. Just come in and throw 92-mile-an-hour slider, hit the corners, and the batters can't do nothing. And then he can reach back and throw 100 if he wants to. He's been great. And I would put him in Cy Young talks, just because relievers have won it.
Yep.
And without him, the Mets aren't where they are. They're playing great team ball. The chemistry on the team, everybody does something, even the catchers who aren't hitting, they'll get a bunt down here and there. It always means something, they're playing small ball, which is kind of what Buck wants them to. They don't steal a lot of bases, but they steal smart. But they will take an extra base on you if you're not paying attention.
Yep.
They're playing great baseball IQ baseball. The defense is great. Guillermo Lindor, who's having a spectacular year. We're finally seeing Francisco Lindor. All the haters have shut up. He's doing what he does, and he's a good clubhouse guy. He's always happy. He says the right things. I know he had a little incident last year with Baez when they thumbed down the fans. I think that was all Javi Baez getting in his head.
Yeah.
And he apologized for that like less than a week later.
Yeah.
So I'm glad he did that. But now he's endeared in New York. The Mets got a couple of pitchers getting ready to come back. Tyler McGill should be back in a couple of weeks. He'll probably go to the bullpen, even though he was a starter for the first couple of months, and he was doing great. But he's already said, I don't care where, I just want to help. So good attitude. They just got Trevor May back. He's got a good arm. David Peterson has been pitching well. Who's pitching tonight? Carrasco. He'd be on the ice outside of Cy Young talks. He's got 11 wins, so and he's pitching good. And then Bassett, yesterday pitched great. 8 shutout innings. Just freaking great. Everything's clicking. Just please, no big injuries. I could
So
never
no
say
after
something.
all. So no after All-Star meltdown that we're seeing. We're not gonna
No,
end the
and
Mets playing.
people keep bringing it up, and I'm like,
Aw.
I went over.
Well, you're up 7, right? You're up 7 games right now, so I think it would
Yeah.
be a horrendous meltdown to take. So.
Not only do we gotta respect the Braves, but the Phillies are only 3 games behind the Braves.
Yep.
They found new life, and they're doing it without freaking Harper.
Yeah.
And they're playing well since they fired their manager. Sometimes that does that to a team. We've all seen it. Football, basketball, baseball. Manager gets fired mid-season, and the team all of a sudden gets hot. I always thought Joe Girardi was a great manager. I wanted him to be a Mets manager. I don't know. His style doesn't mesh because I'm quite sure he's old school because that's the way he played. But, everything's looking good in New York right now. And we're tied with the Yankees for the best record in New York. So the Kings of New York are gonna fight it out,
Yeah, that's gonna be something. I mean, MLB, they want the World Series in the big markets, and if you get a New York Series again,
I am so crossing my fingers for a Subway Series. I might pay $2,000 to go see a game. I have
That's
to,
a lot of money.
Ooh. Chris, how about let's move on to Chris and your
Yeah.
Rangers. What's been up with them for the last couple weeks?
I know we didn't do much in the trade deadline, but looking at the standings, it looks like we're moved up to third.
Yep.
I know previously at the All-Star break we were either last place or second to last, so we kind of improved a little bit. No big signings going on. I think we're getting some players back. We're steady going, up and down. Split the series against the White Sox this past
Thank you.
weekend.
Yeah.
And who knows what's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Let me throw a side note in there, Chris.
Yeah.
Big B. So I went up to Frisco the other night and watched the Rough Riders play. That's the Rangers AA ball club.
Yep.
And, it's only 25 miles from the Rangers stadium. So these guys are right there.
Yep.
The first 6 batters are all hitting over 280. They all got 10 plus home runs. They're good fielders. They're freaking good. The Rangers are actually loaded in the farm system. And you know who plays shortstop for the Frisco Rough Riders there, Chris?
Oh gosh.
Baby Acuna, Ronald's
yeah.
little brother. And he's only hitting like 320 with 14 home runs. He hit a grand slam the other night. And they're good. I'm like, oh my gosh. And, most major league teams, their big prospects are usually at AA, and then they'll play like a half a season at AAA. AAA is where they like to stash their fourth catcher, their backup first baseman, some guys with major league experience, so they keep playing so we can bring them up for a week or two.
Yep.
But, I'm happy for the Rangers. They're not 500, but they're playing much better than last year. And I'm going to more Rough Rider games. It was fun. It was hot, but it was breezy, and I'm going to buy the cheapest ticket because you go in there, it seats 9,000. There was only like 2,000 people there.
Oh wow!
For Saturday night because it's hot.
Yeah.
People,
it's not like they
it's
don't
hot.
have retractable roof and all that.
Yeah, it was. But you know what? It was actually nice. I sit on the left field side, which is in the shade, and then there was a breeze, which in August in Texas is not normal. So there was a light breeze, and it actually felt good.
Yeah.
It was 95 at game time, maybe 100, but it was a very pleasant evening, and they played well. They won like 8-3 3 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
just
So,
fun.
no, that's good. So the Twins up here, they made moves, but I think they made moves just to make moves, and I really did. I'm not saying I didn't care for the moves, but
You question
yeah,
it.
they got some pitching which they needed. They got a catcher help that they needed, but they didn't make that big splash. They're in talks with that started from the Reds, Castillo, I think it was.
Yep,
Failed
Castillo,
on
he's in
that.
Seattle.
There was rumblings that we were in talks with the Nationals for Soto,
Maybe we're too.
which granted probably every team was, but the package I
Yeah.
saw, I would have did that in a heartbeat. It was who was it now? It was Royce Lewis, a couple people that are with the Twins right now, and then I think a couple other double A guys, and yeah, I would have made that. I would have made that trade in a heartbeat. So to me, I don't think they're that serious of talks. But the Twins right now, last 10 games are 5-5, so they're just hanging on there. They're a game up on Cleveland,
Mhm.
2.5 on Chicago. So the only way to get in the playoffs in this division is going to be to win it.
Win it.
So, and right now we're in LA today, which I think we're going to get swept. I mean, I hope we don't, but I could see us 1 or 2 game losses there. The White Sox are right now in the middle of a doubleheader. Game 2, they lost the first game, so that helped us. Guardians are hanging in there, so it's going to be a fight to finish with the Central. But yeah, the only way to get in, and that's kind of what's upsetting us. Like the Twins didn't make any splashes; they're right there. Sano comes back after a good stint down at AAA, and then he goes back on the DL. So
Yeah,
and
that
he's
didn't help.
only got
Guys in
5
first
hits
place.
this year, 1 home run. He's been
Weren't
like
you guys in first place?
What's that?
at the- weren't you in first place at the All Star?
Yeah, we're still in first place. We're just
Can't hardly hear you, Chris.
Yeah, you gotta get closer, Chris. But no, he came back, ended up on the DL within the first 4
He just
games.
hasn't played a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Maybe 30 at bats,
no, he's got quite a few at bats. He just got 5 hits. He's batting 0.85 or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, so he's struggling, but it is what it is. And I think end of the year, I think this might be the end for Sano, and so. But looking at the standings here, as we always do, of course, we got the Yankees up there, Twins, Houston. Those are division leaders. In the National League, you got the Mets, St. Louis, Dodgers.
St. Louis sweeping the Yankees. Yes,
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah.
A shout out to Greg there. I know
on a
he's happy.
7-game winning streak. There's another team that was heavy in talks with to get Soto, and man, if they would have got Soto with that, I mean, it would have just been amazing. And then in the wild card race, you got Toronto, Tampa. The third spot is held by Seattle right now, with Baltimore a game behind there. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the year? Baltimore hanging in there.
Well, they're over 500 now.
Yep, 5 games over 500. Boston, who a lot of us thought was going to be the wild card race, is last in that division. And then nationally, you got the Braves, the Phillies, and San Diego, and you got Milwaukee a game back. So, it's going to be heating up August, September. Getting the playoff races. I think there's one division that's wrapped up, and I think that's the East. I think the AL East and the West on the NL are wrapped up for sure. I mean,
Yeah,
AL.
AL.
So, but with that being said, let's get into some more of these trades. Let me pull them up. I did have a list here. So, of course,
Let's go over the Padres trade first.
Yeah.
Talk about that, because they haven't done well since the trade.
So the Padres, outside of getting Hader that we talked about earlier, they acquired a Juan Soto and Josh Bell from the Nationals for Bolt, Gore, Ambers, Hassel III, James Wood, and Suda. So that was the biggest trade. I think, we were shocked, but I don't think we were shocked that the
Yeah.
Padres got it. But like Dirk just said, they're not looking so good right now. Could it be chemistry? Trying to get, new city, new. What do you
Well,
think, Dirk?
sometimes teams will, and if we've seen this in the past, teams will get loaded and have an all-star at 7 out of the 9 positions,
Mhm.
either an all-star or a former all-star,
Yeah.
and they don't do well. Now, the guys that have been on the team may just unknowingly let up a hair, and the
Yeah.
guys coming to the team trying to press a little bit, and
Yep.
sometimes it's been over the years. The Yankees did it when they signed A-Rod and Teixeira and stuff in the
Yep.
early 2000s. They weren't good.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, because the baseball the way it is, I think if you took an all-star team and put them in a division, everybody thinks they play 800 ball. I bet they won't. They might play 500 to 600 ball.
Yeah.
I think when there's too much talent, it's not that guys don't try. It's just that, well, I'm having a crappy day, but he'll back me up.
Yeah.
It's just something in the head. I've seen it a lot of times. Sometimes,
Mhm.
usually, you got to have 2 or 3 guys that aren't all-star players that just go out there and grind. And I think other guys look at that. Look at that guy. He hits 250 with 12 home runs, but he's always dirty. He makes sparkling plays, and that might push them a little more, because the game might be a little bit easier for the superstar,
Mhm.
for versus the guy that's grinding, and
Yeah.
has to play at that high intense level. Otherwise, he's not even as good as he is. He has to do that. There's something, it, if we could get an ex-pro player and bring this up to them, it's that something. Sometimes you have great teams. Look at the Lakers did this year. They had Westbrook, Davis, and LeBron, and they sucked. You know, you can't pencil it in. You still
10, 12 years ago, that team would have been phenomenal, though. I mean, in their
Yep.
prime. So, but the next deal we got on the board here, Dodgers acquired Joey Gallo from the Yankees for right-handed pitcher Clayton Beater. I could have pronounced that wrong, but what happened to Gallo? Ever since he left the Rangers, he's kind of just,
Well, I think New York happened, basically.
you know.
I'll
I
bet.
know Chris was upset when they got rid of him, so
Yeah, he was really
Yeah,
good.
he was
I thought.
he was liked pretty much down here.
yeah.
Everybody says because he has a low batting average, right? Well, he had 2 years with the Rangers where he hit like 220, but he hit 40 home runs, drove in 80 or 90 runs. If he could get his batting average up to 250, he he'll drive in 100 runs. He's also a Gold Glove outfielder. He's
Yeah.
excellent defense. He gets on base at a 380 clip. That's very, very good. New York just look. I know what they did. They just looked at his batting average, started getting on him, and then he's striking out a lot. So he didn't help his case any, But there was a
Wow.
stat when he played for the Yankees. They were like, when he played, they were like 52 and 18. When he sat the bench, they were 500. I don't know what it is. And then, of course, he went to the Dodgers. Dodgers have won 6 in a row. Yankees are 1-5. Go explain it. I don't know. Would love
Well, yeah, just looking at Gallo's stats though with the Yankees. I mean, last year he batted $160, and then this year $159. So
Yep.
right around $160. Let's see, home runs. He's 24 home runs in the half a year, or what, the year and a half that he was there. So I mean, I get it. I mean, the spotlight possibly, and
New
then
York does
he
a
goes to the
number.
Dodgers. He's got 4 games, 10 at bats, 2 hits, so he's starting off a little slow. I mean, a lot of people aren't used to the limelight, though. I mean, you go from Texas, which is a semi big city, but you go to
Yeah.
the Big Apple, you go to Hollywood,
Yeah.
so
Well, I think LA is easier on athletes than New York is.
well,
New York is
their fans are because they think this was the greatest trade ever. Gallo coming there is going to almost
Hey,
cemented
he
the World Series for
relaxes.
them.
Maybe,
He gets back into doing what he does.
Yeah,
He is a very, very good outfielder. So
yep,
he's going to get in games, and it's how they use him, his mindset. I know he said a couple of things. He was like, "Oh, the fans just don't let up here,"
oh
and
yeah,
it can get on you. Look at Kenny Rogers from the Rangers years ago. He won the Cy Young, and he signed a big deal with the Yankees, and he was horrible. And then he went back to the Rangers, and he was good again.
Well, look at what happened to back early '90s with when Chuck Knobloch from the
Chuck
Twins went
Knobloch,
there.
and then he
Couldn't
got
make
the
a
yips.
couldn't make a throw from second base, so they moved him to left field, and he still couldn't hit second base. So
Steve
Yeah.
Sachs. Steve Sachs.
yeah,
New York
exactly.
is not for everybody.
Yep.
It's you can be the most humble guy, not go out too much, but
Yep.
man, you're gonna hear it. You hear it at the stadium, and when
Oh, yeah.
you're not,
Especially if
hitting
you're not
well,
winning and not producing.
yeah,
Yeah.
now if he had batted his normal 220 and had like 20 home runs now, they wouldn't be yelling at him because that's what he does. It's just you'd like him to hit for a high average or higher. If he could hit 250, he'd be a terror. But the dude plays another 10 years till he's 37, 38. He's
Yeah.
going to get 400 home runs.
Mhm.
Rob Deere, Adam Dunn, same kind of player.
Yep, exactly.
Low
No,
batting average, good eye, high on base percentage, a lot of home runs, not a lot of RBIs because he doesn't get a lot of hits. But I'd like that. I don't want the 160 batting average on my team, but I would love the Texas Ranger version of Joey Gallo on my team. Put him down
exactly.
7th or 8th in the order. You have a big bat down there. You're solid in the field. That's your right. He could play all 3 outfield. He can even play third and first because he's done it. He came up as a third baseman. But he's very athletic.
Yep. So Phillies acquire Noah Syndergaard
Yep.
from the Angels for a couple outfielders, Mickey Monarch and Sanchez. I know a Philly fan. A fan of every team I know, that he claimed that Mickey was the savior for Philly, and now they traded him, so now he's done with the Phillies. So, but yeah, we won't name names, but yeah. So Syndergaard going, I don't know what happened with the Angels. I thought Syndergaard was going to be good, but again, Syndergaard or the Angels are one of those teams that were in a lot of trade talks. Trout, Ohtani, Syndergaard is the odd man out. So
people got to remember about Thor. Okay, he wasn't doing great with the Angels, but he wasn't doing bad either.
No.
He has like right around a 4 ERA.
Mm-hmm.
He's not throwing as hard as he used to. But remember, this is his first year back from Tommy John.
Yeah.
Guys that come back from Tommy John usually struggle the first year back. They need a full year of healthy, full year of proper conditioning. You watch him next year, I bet you see a little better pitcher. He's only 29, I think.
Yeah.
29. I don't think he's 30 yet. and I hate that he went to Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a little like New York in that it's a tough town to play in.
Yeah.
Remember, they threw snowballs at Santa Claus, okay, with
Yeah.
rocks in them.
Yeah.
And they're a tough town to play in, but he's been in New York, so I think he knows how to deal with it. Chris,
Yeah.
Noah Syndergaard, he played for Mansfield High School, right?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's a local Dallas kid.
Yeah.
And he does come back here and he goes to various high schools and he gives little clinics.
No, that's
He
good.
went
That's
to my
good.
son's high school and gave a clinic. They didn't even tell me. I'd have to find out a week later. I'm like, freaking Noah Syndergaard was there?
Yeah.
He was showing us pitching stuff. Did you catch him? One,
Yeah.
it hurt.
So the Twins got some pitching help. They
Yeah.
acquired, of course, the closer Lopez from the Orioles, but they also acquired Tyler Mahle, Mahle, for 3 prospects, and the prospects were Spencer Steer, Stephen Hajar, and infield Christian Strand. I can't even pronounce it. He's got a hyphenated name. But, Twins, for me, I mean, yeah, they got the pitching that they needed. I wish it would have been a better name starter, but, any move was okay. They didn't rock anybody's seats with those trades, but I'm just looking here to see if there's any other outstanding trades here before we move on. Because I got a little beef to talk about some umping and fans with the umpires and stuff. So,
Uh-oh.
we talked about that.
Trey Mancini from the Orioles got traded to I forgot.
Yeah, I was looking for that trade. I was trying to remember
Yeah.
who it was. Yeah. Didn't he? I don't think he went to the Yankees, but that was the first
No,
time.
he didn't go to the Yankees.
Um,
Did he go to the Astros?
Maybe he did. I kind of remember something.
Let's see here.
The odd thing about that is his first game as an Oriole, his first game in the majors,
Yeah.
he hit a home run. And on his new team, his first game, he hit a home run. And of course,
That's good.
we all know his story. He had very bad cancer and he had to come
Yeah,
back.
the Astros got him.
Astros, yeah. Like I said, they need another bullet in their gun.
Yeah.
Jesus freaking Christmas.
Well, and then no, keep going, dude.
Yeah, so the Astros, they're loaded for bear. Verlander's pitching out of his freaking mind.
Most likely Cy Young.
You know what? He's what y'all say. Everybody says, 38, 39, they're old. Well, Scherzer and Verlander will have words to say about that because
But
they're
they
in
say that
great
is
shape. They're pitching good. Verlander was injured last year, but he came back. He looks great. He might even be better. These guys know so much about conditioning now, and they know they're getting older. So they adjust their conditioning. They adjust their diets. If they're in Verlander, Scherzer. Remember, like 12 years ago, they were on the same team.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Tigers.
Yep.
And that team, we thought that's when they got Miggy, 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And nothing happened with them. But, them two pitchers, they're all business when they're on the mound. The intensity, the look on their face, they don't smile. I wouldn't want to be, they're tall guys. I wouldn't want to face them. They both throw 98, and they're like 38 years old. It's in today's day and age, guys are playing sports longer. It's all about conditioning.
Yeah.
And they've been relatively healthy throughout career. Injuries. You get a lot of injuries, you're not going to have a long career.
Yeah, but sooner or later, as they say, mother time or father time always catches you. So,
Oh yeah, you can't beat Father Time, but you can keep him outside the door for a little while.
You sure can. And then the last one, just because I want to kind of just nag my Atlanta Braves fans. Atlanta Braves got Zeke Odorizzi and traded, in my eyes, the Cy Young last year, the MVP of the World Series, Will Smith, the closer.
Yeah.
But the Braves got a good starter.
They got a good starter. I don't think them losing Will Smith hurts them because their closer is good.
Yeah.
So they're picking up another quality starting pitcher, Odorizzi. Like he's had years where he's been in the Cy Young talk.
Oh yeah.
But he's really a number 2 or number 3 pitcher.
Yep.
So he's a good pitcher, but more bullets for the Braves. It's
exactly.
Some teams made strategic moves, and only a couple went for the big splash. Naturally, the Padres was the big splash. Yep. I think maybe Houston getting Mancini and Vasquez. That would be big news normally, but not so much with the San Diego, especially with the double trade. Getting Hader. Hader and Rogers, their stats were very close together this year.
Rogers kind of fallen off a little bit, but that's why. I was talking to some other people I know, and I'm like, I don't get the Hader trade. Is there something we're missing in the clubhouse or something behind scenes? Exactly. One Brewer fan said he thinks it was a contract. They don't think they could have signed him last year or for next year, so why not dish him off and get something for him? So that could have been it, but
because that's always an underlying theme nowadays.
But when I saw that trade, I just couldn't believe it. I mean, so the Padres got Josh Hader from the Brewers for Rogers, Gasser, Reyes, and Lamont. So, but both of them all-star, or Rogers wasn't an all-star closer, but he should have been. Their stats were almost identical, and I still don't get the move. Hopefully something comes out of it, but
hopefully.
I think Rogers is a couple years younger.
Yeah.
It's the only thing. But Hader's not old either, though. He's only 31 or 32, right in there.
I mean, honestly, he's probably, if not the best closer right now.
He's having a little bit of an off year because he's had some rough outings, but he's still really good. And so, that trade was like, it seemed like they were just switching parts.
Yeah, exactly. So, like
switching
I don't know.
Parts. Maybe the Padres, had some issue with Rogers or something. And it could have been, if Hader's contract is, if he's about to be a free agent, maybe they said, well, we can get this other quality receiver for him that we'll have for a couple more years, and we don't have to worry about the contract. It's sad that comes up, money, but this is sports.
Hader and Rogers, I mean, almost identical. Hader 4.0 ERA, 2-4 record, 29 saves in 36 innings. And then you got Rogers 4.36, 1-5 with 28 in 43 and a third innings. So it was still a mind-boggling trade. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, let's move on. We got about 10 minutes left. So Sunday night's game with the Twins, I'm going to bring it up. They got a review at home plate. Don't know the whole details. I know if the runner's coming in, the catcher's got to give them some kind of room to slide around
the play the other day?
Yeah, the Buster Posey rule, they called it.
Yeah.
The throw was out of dime. I know in the 80s, 90s, 9 times out of 10, the throw's there, the runner's out, even if he was safe,
Yeah.
because the umps always look at the ball. They reviewed it. I don't think they should have overturned it, but again, if they would have called him safe and the Twins would have reviewed it, I don't think they should have overturned it.
It was
Well,
close.
It was close, exactly, but I think they got him for block. I didn't hear the whole explanation. Fans, of course, are upset.
Mhm.
You know, Baldelli gets tossed right away. But my beef is when Angel Hernandez makes a bad call, it's all over the media, all over Facebook, Twitter, you know, whatever. But another one makes a bad call, and it's just like, oh, that's part of the game. So why is it a Hernandez gets blasted for it, and I don't even know the home plate umpire?
Call.
So
Hang on.
yeah,
Twins slide call.
it was
I kept
Sunday.
meaning to look at the play,
Yeah,
and
it was Sunday. He slid underneath the catcher.
yep,
He was out. But my thing is you know, fans will blast Hernandez for a bad call, but yet
mhm.
but then this guy and all the other umps that make a bad call it's just part of the game. So it just frustrates me. If you're going to be critical to one umpire, good or bad, then you need to be critical to all of them. You know, and I've looked up on umpscorecard.com, I think is the website, and yeah, it's when they're behind the plate. Hernandez has a 93% perfect calls, you know, as they graded him on, you know, but I don't know. It's just to me, it's just frustrating when you're going to blast one. Yes, I'm not saying Hernandez is the perfect ump, because there's no perfect ump. There's no no perfect ump, no perfect ref. They're going to miss calls, you know. But it seems like every time Hernandez name brought up, well, that's why they need robotic umps. That's why they need this. They need that. And then it's like, but yet you guys ain't calling out the other umps that make a bad call in your eyes. So, Dirk, I know you're coaching.
I'm trying to pull up a video of that. I saw it on TV.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Hang on. Whoop.
Yeah. Turn down so we don't get copyrighted.
You know, so the Buster Posey rule.
I was going to pull that up too.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. You know what? Man, I got to watch it again. It's
I had to watch it a couple times too. So
initially, I want to say his foot is in the base path.
Yep. The catcher or the runner?
You know.
Are you talking the catcher?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, now from this rule,
so
the one thing I will say right now is he had a clear path to a part of the plate.
Yeah.
Let me do this.
And he slid underneath the catcher.
He could have slid to the
but I think he slid underneath the
backstop
catcher.
side.
Yeah.
Of, you know, and then, you know,
so let's see if I can find the definition. So the informally known as the Buster Posey rule, some highlight the rule 7.13 that include a runner may not run out of direct line to the plate in order to initiate contact with the catcher or any player covering the plate. So the player itself, the way I read this, and each rule is interpreted the way you want to read it, the catcher has full right to block the plate. The runner cannot.
Once he has the ball.
Okay, once he has the ball. Okay, so he can stand on the corner of home plate. Once he gets the ball.
Toward the pitch.
Yep.
What they want the catcher to do, and this is what I teach. It's what they want the high school kids to do.
They don't want him right in line of the plate without the ball.
Stand like a foot up the third baseline.
Yep.
A little bit on the side of the pitcher's mound, okay? Yep. So that you're not over the baseline. Yep. You're not. You can be like where the grass would come down if it came straight down. They want you right there so that when you catch the ball, then you just push into the runner. Now, if the ball takes you into the runner and you catch it and you got to be there, then it should be and you tag him, it should be out because you can't tell what the ball's going to
Yeah.
do. You know,
I wanted to see if I could find an image.
see what I'm seeing here. Wow, this is
It's
okay.
up in the
I'm
air. Like
looking at
I
it.
said, if they would have called him safe and the Twins would have reviewed it and got it overturned, fine. You know, and I'm not saying that the Twins were right or the Royals. No, the Blue Jays. I'm sorry, the Blue Jays were right in reviewing it because they had the right to. I
Yeah,
just don't think it should have been reversed either way. You know,
trying to look. See, I want to see when he catches the ball. The
'Cause that-
ball and the runner arrive roughly at the same time.
and
Let's
that
look
was a
in slow
dime.
mo.
That was on the dime throw.
Yep. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
The
I wanted to
ball
see.
and the runner. Now the ball's a little high.
Yep.
It's like this high. Okay. And the ball and the runner are getting there right at the same time.
Yep.
Now, one thing he did do, Sanchez, when he first set up, he didn't have the ball yet. The runner wasn't that close yet, but he was getting there. He did, as he was getting ready to catch the ball, he put his left foot on the foul side of the base line.
Yep.
Right. Then when he caught the ball, his foot kind of came up
Yep.
in the air, and then he put it down right as the guy was sliding into him.
Yep.
So he had to do that to catch the ball, and then
But then he has the right to block the play.
balance back, bang, bang, play,
Yep.
push down. I don't know about this one. He wasn't blatantly set up in the lane, but the ball took him into the lane.
Yep.
Okay. But I can see it going both ways.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why the fans are so up in arms. I mean, yeah, it cost the Twins possibly the game. I mean, one, we're not hitting, but you know, my thing is you know,
Well,
if you're
fans are always going to take the home fans are always going to on a close play going, "Oh, that call sucked." You got to be
Yeah.
objective and look at it.
Yeah.
I think you are because you know, if I was a Twins fan and they called him safe, I'd be okay. If I was a Twins fan and they called him out
Yep.
like they did,
Yep.
you know, or
But-
you know,
but what I was trying to get at,
I'd be
is,
like, well,
you know,
it sucks. But that's kind of the rule. He was
Yeah.
it was such bang bang, and the ball took him there. You know, you can't stand on the side and stick your glove out. You got to go get the ball. If the ball takes you now, if Biggio was one step slower and Sanchez caught it and put it down, okay, Biggio's out.
Oh yeah,
It's clear. If it was, you know, if he was 5 feet back, one step back, but ball and runner got there at the same time.
Yep.
Ball got there a hair in front of him. In the old days, he's out.
Yep.
You know, but in today's game, because of the Posey rule, you know, even I think his foot being on the foul side of the line, and then when he reached up to catch it, he brought it back into the right spot.
Yep.
But I think he was already established, kind of, but he didn't catch the ball yet. But he had to do that to catch the ball. You know, you don't.
Yeah.
You know, you got to move your feet. If the ball was like 2 feet to his right toward the pitcher's mound, he might have been and the ball was a good throw. Instead of moving that way, he would have took half a step toward the pitcher's mound and then reached over and tried to swipe tag him. That might have worked, but the ball wasn't there. The ball was right on the plate.
Okay.
You know, yes, great throw. You know, it was right on the plate, but the way the catcher had to position himself, in my opinion, it was just. I agree with the call, you know.
Oh, I do too. I mean, like I said, if they would have called him safe, or they would have they called him out, they reviewed it, called him safe. So
Right.
I don't think the evidence showed that they should have reversed it. But again,
Yeah.
you know, if they would have called him safe and the Twins reviewed it, got it overturned, great. You know, I just don't.
You know,
think.
and Baldelli, he had to go out and argue that, you know. And,
Oh yeah.
and get ejected and all that.
Oh, he was
It's like-
bleeping them. And,
you can see the argument either
yeah.
way. You
we
know,
should have saw it live. It was.
yeah,
it
you
was-
can see
yeah.
it either
Yeah,
way.
he was pointing up to the press box and
Mhm.
saying stuff about New York. So, but anyways, last couple minutes here. Chris, get you a little involvement too. Hall of Fame ballot for 2023. Some first timers. Let's see if we think they're going to get in. Carlos Beltran.
Sure.
Dirk,
Yeah,
do you think he'll get in first time or?
it might take him a couple, but he had a great career, but his postseason was unbelievable. His postseason career. He has the stats, 300 batting average. He was a really, really good outfielder, good teammate, played hustle ball. I don't think first ballot, but second or third. He should be in
he
pretty
was
good.
about 70 home runs short of the magical number of 500.
Yeah.
Hits about 300 away from 300. So I think he'll get in, but yeah, definitely not a first timer. John Lackey.
No.
I think if he gets in, it's going to be a while. I think.
Yeah. What's his career record?
Let's see here. 150 and 98, a 3.6 ERA.
I mean, he was good for a few years, but I don't think his strikeouts were that high. He's a guy that should have won 200 games if he was going to be considered, because he's part of the older late 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
No. I'm sorry. Lackey was 188, 147. A 3.29.
So part of it is his name is because he played on good teams.
Yep.
Justin
Weaver was the next one I was going to bring up, and he was 150 and 98. So. Or Jarrett Weaver.
Long enough. He got hurt at the end.
Yep. Jacoby Ellsbury.
That's a tough one. I'm
going
to go no.
I think it might be.
He was great early, but his last few years weren't great. A lot of guys, they hit that 31, 32, and they tail off. They might have 10 good years, but you got to finish it. You got to have 15 good years.
Yep. Let's see.
It takes luck, no injuries. I remember Ellsbury. He was a great player, but he was in his 20s. He was great. In his 30s, he slowed down. It was noticeable.
Yep. Bronson Arroyo.
The pitcher.
Yep, he was 148 and 137.
No.
Yeah. Francisco Rodriguez. My memory serves me. Wasn't he a closer? Yeah.
Yeah, he was closer.
437 saves.
He might. I think eventually he'll get in because he was pretty freaking dominant.
Yeah. I definitely don't see any first timers getting in this year.
No, not really.
No, nobody's jumping off at me. I mean, even looking at the hitters.
Maybe Beltran because people like him. I don't think he ever pissed off the press, and that's a big thing. Of course, his involvement with the Astros. That stupid crap. Wish people would let that go.
Yeah. So let's see here. People that missed the ballot because you had to have 72% of the votes.
Something around there. 70.
All right. Yeah. So Scott Rowland, he missed it. He was at 63, so he needs about 11 more percent.
He might get there. He was, in addition to being a good hitter, he was an excellent defensive player. He did battle injuries the last few years, though. That probably didn't help his numbers.
Todd Helton was at 52%, so he's got.
He should be in.
Yeah, I think he should be. I definitely do. Andrew Jones of the Braves. He's probably still borderline. I think. Yeah, 41% of the votes.
Yeah, he needs. He was probably the best center fielder in the game,
Yep.
and he was great from a young age. But his last few years, he hit home runs, but he didn't have a very high batting average, so he
Yep.
tailed off. You know,
His 5th time on the ballot, Andy Pettit, he only got 10% of the votes. I know he's a Yankee, but
he was part of the core four, man.
Yep.
I think he should be in. You
I
know,
think he should get in too.
it's he might have to get the senior vote.
Omar Vizquel, I think, should be in. He was
Should
dominant.
be in, no doubt.
Definitely dominant.
You place defensive shortstops as Ozzie Smith 1, him 2.
Yep. Oh,
And
yeah.
they're close. Ozzie's best, but he's the second best. He should be in. People now are looking at hitting numbers.
Yep.
He was a good hitter, and he stole bases. He was a 290 hitter,
How about Jimmy Rollins? He got 9.4% of the votes, and he's going into his 2nd year. He's probably a toughie.
He wasn't as good the last 4 or 5 years. You got to finish strong. You can't have 10 good years unless you're Ralph Kiner, who hit 50 home runs a year for 10 years.
Yeah. Before I get to 2 other names here, Torrey Hunter, I think.
No.
You don't think so?
Nope.
Ooh.
Good player, but nope.
I don't. I think it's going to come down to kind of like a Burt Blyleven type thing where he's going to get in the last.
Torrey Hunter
he was a fan favorite.
And he was always a great center fielder.
Yep.
It took him a couple of years to get to be a good hitter, so he had a slow start, and then he was good, and then he wasn't good at the end as far as being a hitter. He probably had 8 to 10 solid hitting years, and then he tailed off. And Chris, I know where he lives. He lives here in Dallas.
Well, someday you talk to special guests. I mean, throw out their name there a little bit there, Dirk. But the last 2 days,
neighbors with Randy White.
Yeah. So the last 2 names I'm going to bring up are always going to be controversial because of the their PhD stuff. Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez.
Manny might.
The numbers say yes,
Yep.
and they were both really good players.
Yep.
And I had the pleasure of watching A-Rod here for a couple of years in Texas.
Yep.
Amazing player. Sadly, the guys that are tied to the steroids, it's going to be a knock against them. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. A-Rod wasn't a popular guy here because he didn't do much in the community. But, and that's kind of the way he is. And he evidently wasn't really good in the clubhouse. But the only thing, he never got involved with getting arrested or abuse or nothing. He did steroids for a little while to get back from being injured.
Yep.
And, but, he should be in, but because of that, it's just like Manny. Okay. He should be in. What a great hitter. And both these guys didn't need it. Like Barry Bonds didn't need it. They would have walked in anyway. Maybe they hit 100 less home runs or something. Yep. And that's it. They should be in based on how they played and the way they played, but it's their actions that keep them in. Because once these guys get in, so does Bonds, so does McGuire, so does Sosa, so does some other.
And that's what I was going to bring up because I'm looking at last year's ballot, and of course now some players are off. Bonds, Clemens, Chris Schilling, Sammy Sosa.
Yep.
All hit their final years. I'm guessing because they have to go through the Veterans Committee. I think they're saying here.
There's another thing
I'm with you. I think Bonds should be in. Clemens, I think, should be in. Schilling should be in.
Schilling
No.
should be in, but he
Yeah.
pissed off too much media because he spoke his mind.
Exactly.
I applaud him for that.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and we need some of these writers to pass away, and then Schilling will get in.
Yeah,
You know.
and that sucks. I mean, we all know Pete Rose should be in, but anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with that being said, we gave you guys a little bit of extra innings today with the on deck. Dirk, final thoughts there, bud?
Well, hoping the Mets keep on rolling. The things are starting to shake out. Dodgers are doing great. You know, the Astros are rolling. St. Louis, I don't know if they can put any distance on them. And you know, Minnesota, I think you're going to have a little fight on your hands, so you're going to be chewing your nails every night, but that's fun.
It is.
Nobody's going to catch the Yankees in the AL East. They could go on a lose. You know, they're not playing well right now, but they're still 10 or whatever up. Toronto is not good enough. Tampa Bay is not good enough to get that hot. If one of them two teams go on a 14 out of 16 streak,
well, now we're talking.
Something happen,
No.
you know, but it's looking. The Dodgers, you know, got a big lead. They're everybody's playing well for them. So let's see. But it's getting nervous time now. We're down to about 8 weeks left of baseball.
Yep, exactly. So Chris, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, not long for baseball season. Every team is trying to get positioned to win, and you know, it's going to be a nail biter.
Yeah. So with that being said, my final thoughts is, you know, playoff baseball starts now. I think for a lot of teams, especially in the Central, those close races are just going to be nail biters, like Dirk said. With that being said, catch us next week for On Deck. Catch Coast to Coast all week long. This Sunday will be the 2022 season premiere of Morning Tailgate. We'll bring that show back. We're in the we've also, if you guys haven't been watching, we Coast to Coast is a proud viewership of women's professional football for the Oregon Cougars. So we're going to start up a show with them by the request of their owner. We're going to start having some weekly shows there. Again, just keep checking us out. We're revamping, retooling, just like everybody else does. But with that being said, we are not having, Chris could confirm, we're not having On Deck or Tuesday Night Mania tonight. That show will be moving to a different night. Just trying to figure out time. We'll let you guys know. But with that being said, just keep checking out Coast to Coast. Check us out next week, hopefully with the return of Big Dog Greg. But for Big B, Coach D, Crispy Bacon, we'll see y'all next week on Deck. Have a good night.